welcome those of you just joining us here in Oakland. Week 15 of the NFL season about to get underway in Northern California. This has been a series between the Rams and Raiders that Oakland has dominated, winning 7 of the 10. As Jeff Wilkins kicks us underway, Chris Carr, the deep man for Oakland. He begins a return at the 8-yard line and is hit at the 22. That's where Aaron Brooks and the Oakland offense will take over.
Hit by number 33, K.J. Harris.
How much fun will it be to watch Jimmy Haslett against Aaron Brooks today, and all the X's and O's and the chess match and all that stuff? Very, very interesting. This was his guy now down in New Orleans, Matty. You guys know that.
And not only him, but also Rick Venturi, who was a D coordinator down there. Yep. Those guys know Aaron Brooks very, very well. They've got a lot of respect for him.
Among the connections in this matchup in Oakland today, Justin Fargas is the lone back with Aaron Brooks, and the Raiders' offensive afternoon is underway. This is Fargas for a modest gain up the middle, running between the tackles. Let's check the Raiders up front, a much maligned group. Chad Slaughter makes his 6th consecutive start at left tackle as Art Shell plans to bring Robert Gallery back next week. Raider quarterbacks have been dropped 62 times, 5 shy of a franchise record. Backs and receivers, you can get great deals on Randy Moss and Jerry Porter jerseys at the souvenir stands for the holidays. Ronald Curry gets his start at wideout today for Oakland. Fargas and Crockett in the backfield now with Brooks after a gain of 3 on that last play. And the hand is once again to Fargas. Very close to, if not right at, an Oakland first down. The Rams' defensive front has struggled against the run. Leonard Little, however, is just a sack and a half shy of Kevin Green's career franchise record. Brandon Green starts for the injured Victor Adeyanju. Rams linebackers, 3-time Pro Bowler Dexter Coakley starts for Pisatino Isamoa, and in the secondary, one of the game connections, ex-Saint Fakir Brown, a teammate of Aaron Brooks over 4 seasons in New Orleans, and the Rams getting a little jumpy here on first down.
And that's Jimmy Kennedy that just steps off sides there, guys, and encroaches into the neutral zone.
Defense, number 73, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And look for both of those D tackles to have to play better today. When you talk about Jimmy Kennedy, Leroy Glover on the inside, and talking to Scotty Linehan last night, what's the problem in run defense? And to me, so, there's a lot of different reasons, but all of it kept coming back to the defensive tackles and their inability to be stiff at the point of attack on the interior. Those guys have to play better today.
So a 1st and 5 now for Oakland after the penalty. And the Raiders keep it on the ground, trying the left side of the line this time. The tackle by Jimmy Kennedy after a gain of maybe a yard.
And I think you see Justin Fargas there, who's had issues really in terms of having a big impact on games. You're going to need running back by committee today, whether it's Rashard Lead or Fargas or Zach Crockett. I mean, Art Shell wants a power running game, always has, and as you look at St. Louis, they've had issues. I mean, they're the worst in the league at stopping the run, so need to get a little bit from everybody in the run game today.
Brooks with his first pass attempt this afternoon, and it's caught by Fargas out of the backfield for another Raider first down.
Well, we already talked a little bit about it, Tim, but what the Rams have to do today is they've got to man up. They've got to get tougher physically, and you talked about those defensive tackles, but all over this entire front 7, they've missed too many tackles. They haven't been physical enough, and that's what they've got to do today. They've got to step up, mano a mano, and just be physical and see who wants it more today.
The Raiders go to a double tight end set here on 1st and 10 as they near midfield. Brooks looking to pass once again with a pocket. He throws a wobbler down center field. And is it picked off? Fakir Brown, the aforementioned Aaron Brooks teammate indeed. Brown with his 3rd interception of the year. Leroy Glover, the ex-Raider, made the hit. All kinds of goofy parallels happening here.
And that's really what caused that interception, was the pressure by Leroy Glover. And that's really what they want to do with Aaron Brooks. You can see Leroy Glover, he's just going to work inside, gets a great jump off the ball, and you can see his quickness there, just gets to Aaron Brooks and forces that ball to be thrown really short.
Who's he throwing to? I mean, that thing looked like it came out of his hand funny. And that hit, if he did hit him when he was releasing it, it was down low. Paul Brown gets a steal on that one. That was an easy pick.
So the Rams offensive unit goes to work after the turnover. Steven Jackson on the ground as St. Louis as well wants to establish their running game. And after a gain of a couple and a tackle by Warren Sapp, we talk a little bit about Mark Bulger. Over 300 yards again last week, or on Monday that is, in the loss to the Bears. This is a guy who just doesn't turn the ball over very often.
And that's what Scott Linehan preached when he got here from day one. Ball security. Everybody knows Bulger can light it up, but he wants him to get the ball out of his hands quicker, not take as many sacks, thus not having as many turnovers.
After a 4-yard gain by Jackson, they call his number again. And a pickup of 4 yards on second down. As we take a look at the Rams offensive line, we mentioned Adam Timmerman's 204 consecutive game streak is 82 receptions. Not a familiar sight. On 3rd and 1 now. Raiders bring the blitz, and down goes Mark Bulger. Kurt Morrison came in untouched.
And this is what you got with a brand new center in the game. Here's Kurt Morrison. There's Romberg making his first start. He's going to slide up and just hit that A gap, completely unblocked. Incognito turns out. The center turns down. Easy gap of penetration there for Kirk Morrison.
And that's what happens when you get new guys in there that haven't really worked together in a game situation. They're just not communicating properly inside.
Matt Turk on to punt it away. Chris Carr, the deep man again for Oakland. He begins the return at the 26 and is flipped at the 30-yard line. And let's check in for the first time this afternoon with Chris Rose in Los Angeles for a game break. Chicago beats Tampa Bay, and they clinch home field advantage because New Orleans lost. And boy,
not
strike
so
that.
fast.
Yeah. Richard Lee is the lone back with Aaron Brooks here on 1st and 10. They hand to Richard Lee, a guy that Art Shell wants to run more often. A gain of a yard after being stopped by Leonard Little.
Leonard Little is a guy that can make a lot of plays, obviously getting to the quarterback, but he's really improved against the run. You've got to make sure that you know exactly where 91 is, and you've got to get him blocked. That time he just comes right down the line of scrimmage untouched. He's able to make the tackle.
And quite worthy in the new 3-year deal they just gave him not too long ago this season. Watch him in pass rushing downs, and this will be one of them. He's lined up at left end, but as this game goes on, you'll see 91 sprinkled throughout the defensive front with different alignments.
Crockett and Fargas in the eye behind Brooks. The hand to Justin Fargas, already busy dancing between a big gap and running for a first down. O.J. Atagwe made the tackle after a 10-yard gain for Oakland.
Watch what happens here. This is how you draw it up. Leonard Little's going to come in here. They're going to block down. The backer's going to come over the top. Watch the block by Zach Crockett. There. The seal block on the linebacker is what popped it for Fargas.
But again, the Rams just not good at the point of attack. You see Corey Chavis up there, and he misses the tackle. If you're going to have that 8th guy in the box with Corey Chavis being that safety, that guy's got to know exactly where he's supposed to fit.
On the ground again with Fargas. A modest gain this time before the ex-Raider Leroy Glover can make another tackle.
That's a great point, JC, about Corey Chavis. And in talking to him, he said, listen, I mean, we're bad in run defense. There's no magic formula. It's not like we're going to come out and do this and do that. Bottom line is when we get that extra guy, as you said, coming up in the box, you got to make a tackle. And as I'm telling all the guys in front of us, and I know Jimmy Haslett's thinking the same thing, whip the guy in front of you and give yourself a chance. No secret formula to stopping the run in this league.
2nd and 8 again with Crockett and Fargas in the backfield, and why not? Fargas again at midfield. By the way, the first down run that Justin Fargas broke off a couple of plays ago was his first down run of the year. Just a small sampling as to how the Raider running game has misfired all season.
But today you see what the game plan is. They want to come out and establish the run. When we talked to Art Shell, last week they only ran the ball 16 times. He said you can't win in the National Football League running the ball 16 times. They want to be around the 30, even the 35 carry mark today.
Richard Lee, the lone back here. Johnny Morant is checked in. Brooks is looking his way, and the pass is caught at the far sideline by Ronald Curry, who had a big game in the loss at Cincinnati last week.
And Curry does a good job of pushing up the field and then pushing off of Fakir Brown. They're going to get a lot of coverage. Here's Brown. You're going to see him right here. Ends up on Ronald Curry, and he's looking back at Aaron Brooks the entire time, and then Curry just runs away from him.
Excited to see Ronald Curry line up really as the #1 receiver. #2 in catches, guys, but has been primarily the #3 all year long.
Double tight end set for Oakland after the first down reception by Curry. Fargas again between the tackles, and tackled at the 40-yard line by Brandon Green, who's making the start for the Rams in place of the injured Victor Adeyanju.
You know, you talked about Ronald Curry, Tim. He's a guy, a former high school All-American basketball, football, went to North Carolina, played quarterback, and you know, he's made that transition to wide receiver, but Aaron Brooks really likes him because he said he understands the game. And when you've played quarterback, you understand defenses, you understand coverages, you understand where you're supposed to be. And those guys have really started to develop a nice little tandem there.
Raiders again with 2 tight ends. John Madsen, the slot receiver. Brooks's pass is incomplete. Thrown behind his intended target, Randall Williams.
That's just a bad throw by Aaron. I mean, that's a dig route. You got to get it to that guy on the inside and lead him, and just a bad throw behind the guy. You know, going back to Curry, you make a good point about playing quarterback and knowing where to sit down in this league versus defenses. And I've talked to Ronald many times, and he told me, look, I benefited a lot when I first got here sitting in meetings with Rich Gannon, because you can't believe how that opened my eyes to the pro game, what quarterbacks are looking for in terms of coverage from their receivers.
Rams have the nickel package on the field on 3rd and 7. Here comes the blitz. Brooks stepping up, through it, and down he goes. So another Raider drive interrupted. Leroy Glover has already had a big first quarter. We're calling the ex-Raiders name often this afternoon.
You know, the Rams have pretty good coverage here, but Aaron Brooks has got to throw the ball. He held this ball too long. You can see the blitz coming in here. They pick it up. Rashard Lee, number 42, steps up. And now Brooks has to know that that pressure is coming, and he's got to get rid of that ball. Don't take that sack in that situation. Give your guy a chance to win outside.
Shane Leckler on to punt, trying to pin it near the goal line. And Dane Looker waves for a fair catch inside the 10. Dear life in the crowded NFC playoff picture. You don't need us to tell you how important a win against a team like Oakland would be today.
Listen, and as funny as that sounds with where their record is at 5-8, they're the last team to get into the playoffs at 8-8. So don't think for a minute that Linehan and these St. Louis Rams have stopped believing they can get to the postseason.
Bulger looking in the air and intended for Isaac Bruce, incomplete. Got a flag on the play.
There's anywhere where you like the Rams matchup, to me it's in 3 and 4 wides, JC, against those DBs.
Illegal use of the hands, hands to the face, offense number 70. This penalty has been declined. 2nd down.
Alex Barron, a part of the most penalized offensive line in football. Let's take a look at Oakland's defensive front before we get too much further. Derek Burgess has a chance to become the first player in the league to lead the league in sacks in consecutive seasons. Reggie White did it in 87 and 88. Linebackers, Kirk Morrison is the Raiders' leading tackler, and in the secondary, a couple of good ones at corner. It's about the only spot where these Raiders resemble their 70s counterparts, running with Steven Jackson for a gain of 3. Let's check in on the field with Jay Glazer.
Well, guys, despite the fact that the Raiders have started off the season really struggling, well, that didn't stop Warren Sapp from coming out this week and pretty much guaranteeing a victory against these Rams. Now, those quotes, well, they magically appeared all over the Rams locker room this week, in the bathrooms, in the lockers, everywhere. Well, the guy who actually put it up was the ex-Raider you talked about earlier, Leroy Glover. He said, I wanted to make sure everybody saw that before we headed into the black hole.
Hey, Sapp was just playing the numbers game, fellas. Come on.
They got to win a game at some point in time, you would think, huh?
On 3rd and 6, just a 4-man front defensively for Oakland. Bulger's pass is caught for a first down. Torrey Holt, 119 consecutive games now with a reception, a gain of 15, first down, St. Louis.
And you talk about Sapp, who does have 7 sacks on the season and is playing well. Excuse me, you got to like his matchup today, but blocked up pretty good by Mark Setterstrom right there, the rookie late draft pick.
And you know, last week against Cincinnati, had no tackles, no sacks. They didn't even get to Carson Palmer very much last week, and that's something they've got to do today.
They've got to blitz more today, you think?
They've got to. They can't be as vanilla. They like defensively to just line up and try to beat you one-on-one, and today I don't think they can do that.
2 tight ends on first down for Bulger, and that pass intended for Holt. Flag on the play. Nnamdi Asamoah was all over him.
You can't run up a guy's back, JC. We know that.
Yeah, they're going to get Nnamdi there.
Pass interference, defense, number 21. Automatic first down.
And, that's why my focus point for the Rams offense is they got to win outside. They're going to see a lot of man-to-man coverage from the Raiders, and Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Kevin Curtis, when he comes in, they've got to win outside. You always talk about we've got to run the ball, and everybody talks about that every week, of course. But I think today the key is beating man-to-man coverage outside.
Well, right now you got Sam Williams. Look at this matchup on Kevin Curtis. You've got to like that.
Steven Jackson underneath and stopped at the 40-yard line by a number of Raider defenders. Thomas Howard in on the tackle. Oakland's leading tackler last week at Cincinnati.
You talked about the defense last week and the inability to get pressure. I'll tell you what it translated to. The Sap Daddy coming off the field was not getting off the field on third down. It was brutal. Cincinnati did not punt once in that football game last week. So that's the ambition of this Raider D today. I would imagine the biggest thing they need to do would be get off the field on the money down, third down.
And that's what Art Shell said. I mean, they've got to get off the field when they have an opportunity to get off the field.
And a flag.
False start, offense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
The 11th.
Jimmy Hannafin, the legendary O-line coach here for a long time before the game, I said, what would you do about all the false starts? He said, I'd run him into the ground. He was too tired to false start.
Makes it 2nd and 12, and Mark Bulger does not like what he sees. He spends the first St. Louis timeout.
An injured reserve, all the guys they've gotten hurt, guys moving positions.
Right.
I mean, there's one guy in this group up front that they thought they were going to have for the, in terms of starting and playing out the season.
But it's one thing to get beat physically. It's another thing for concentration and mental errors and jumping off sides.
2 tight ends on the field here for St. Louis, and the quick pass is caught by Torrey Holt, his 2nd reception of the game already. Fabian Washington had the coverage for Oakland.
JC, if they're going to give cushion like that all day, and we know Fabian wants to sit back and bail a little bit so he can get in your hit and run with you, Torrey Holt will run those stop routes in front of him all day long.
Yeah, that's just a slight adjustment for Torrey and Mark Bulger. If you're going to play man-to-man, you've got to get up in these guys' face. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, they're not the fastest guys now as they're getting up in age in their careers, so you can run with those guys. You've got to throw the timing of this offense off by getting your hands on it.
The top-ranked pass defense in the NFL of the Raiders has their nickel package on the field. Bulger's pass is incomplete. Flags back of the line of scrimmage. The pass was intended for Isaac Bruce.
False start, offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty will remain third down.
Well, this time it was Joe.
Guys know the difference between 3rd and 4 where they were just now to now 3rd and 6 plus in terms of conversion rate. It's not even close.
Cuts it in half for most
Huge
teams.
mistake.
So now 3rd and 8. And that one falls into incomplete land. And a late flag on the play. Once again, Fabian Washington had the coverage on the intended receiver, Torrey Holt.
And they're going to call him for pass interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 27. Automatic first down.
Well, the perils of the aggressive corners here in Oakland.
Yeah, and where that ball was thrown, it wasn't even close. You can see bump and run coverage right here. Just miscommunication. Torrey's trying to come out now. Obviously, that should be called illegal contact more than pass interference, because that ball is if you're going to call pass interference, that ball is probably not catchable.
Right.
So illegal contact is probably more appropriate there.
Makes it a first down at midfield. Madison Hedgecock checks in at fullback for the Rams. Steven Jackson with Hedgecock leading the way. Bounces off a pile. He's still on his feet. And finally dragged down by Stuart Schweigert after a big gainer on first down, a pickup of 18 yards.
Got to love Steven Jackson, and he's the bell cow now. He's the guy that's got over 1,700 yards rush or combined yards, and just look at him. I mean, he's not going to give up. His legs are going all the time. You know, he's one of those guys, if you look at him, almost a faster Deuce McAllister, if you will. You know, a big guy, but can run and has the ability to go goal line to goal line. He's having a great season.
He has, you can see, he's got a lot of touches, second most touches in the league by a running back, and he's just getting it done for him. He's bailed him out of a lot of situations.
Bulger into the corner looking for Isaac Bruce. Another bump when the ball was in the air. No flag. Fabian Washington out there again. Well, this time it was clean. Now Washington looks like he's claiming he was interfered with.
Actually, Torrey Holt came over his back, but they both were looking at the football, I think. That's just incidental contact.
And that's exactly why there was no call there, Tim, because he got his head around and playing the football. Watch him turn his head around right there, and now he's playing the football, and there's incidental contact right there. He wants a call on Isaac Bruce, but really that's a good no call.
On 2nd and 6. Jackson up the middle as once again we send you to Los Angeles. A game break with Chris Rhodes.
All right, Matt, a reminder, the Bears clinch home field advantage throughout with a win. They're in overtime. Tim Rattay to Alex Smith, fighting for extra yardage, gets stripped. The Bears recover and set up a field goal attempt for Robbie Gould from 37 yards out. He was 11 for 12 from 30 to 39 yards, and he missed it. So they're still tied. We'll keep you updated. Back to Matt and the rest of the crew.
Hey, remember earlier in the year what Matt Bryant did in that one football game? Was it 62 yards over the top for the game winner, their kicker?
Bears and Bucks 31 all in overtime. What do you call this? The no-figure-it league? Pass is caught to Isaac Bruce. Out near a first down marker for the Rams as time ticks away here in the first quarter.
And the thing about the Raiders defensively, like we talked about earlier, Tim, is they like to just line up and play. They're not going to be fancy. They're not going to try to do a lot of things in the back end. They're going to play cover one, man-to-man with the free safety, or cover three. They don't play a lot of anything else. So what Bulger does, and as you can see the defensive coordinator there, Ryan, but what that does for a guy like Mark Bulger, it gives him a pre-snap read. Makes it easy for him.
That's the end of the first quarter. Scoreless in Oakland. Fox NFL Sunday returns after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. No score after a quarter here in Oakland alongside J.C. Pearson, Tim Ryan, Matt Vasgersian with you. A 9-play drive thus far as teams swap sides and the Rams continue. They're knocking on the door here really legitimately for the first time this afternoon.
It's one area down here on the field where the Raiders defensively with their backs against the wall have been pretty good most of the season.
The Rams' touchdown offense has been good from the red zone this year as well. This is a hand to Steven Jackson, dancing and making something out of nothing, tackled at the 11.
You're right, Matt. They have been good in the red zone offensively. You know, they've been in the red zone 44 times. They've only come away with no points 4 times. So they are really efficient in the red zone, and part of the reason is because of a guy like Steven Jackson. When you can run the ball, pound the ball in the red zone, it obviously helps.
Well, you know what it does is it gets defenses out of that umbrella coverage, puts a hole in that umbrella, forces them to get that extra safety and run support up in the box if you can have the threat of running the rock.
The 11th play of the drive. Jackson again trying to turn the corner as he's bounced out of bounds by Stuart Schweigert. The Rams have put together more 10-plus play drives than anyone in the NFL. That's one of the inconsistencies with a team that's lost 7 of their last 8.
And you're in their run game, everybody talks about Steven Jackson, and yes, he's doing a great job, but with the fullback, Hedgecock, watch him, number 44 right there. Great job of sealing the edge, allowing Jackson to get to the outside and get up the field. And Hedgecock is kind of the unsung hero of this offense.
How about a guy 6'2", 235 like that turning the corner?
Yeah.
Wow.
So a 4-receiver set on 1st and goal. They hand it off to Jackson again, tackled at the 5 by Derek Burgess. Steven Jackson coming off such a great all-purpose game in the loss to Chicago on Monday. 81 on the ground, 58 in the air, and a touchdown via both means.
But you know, we talked, Tim, you and I, about why don't they just go 3 wide receivers and spread this team out and stuff. But out of a one-back set, it's hard to run. That's why you get a fullback in there. There's Hedgecock. He'll come back in, and he'll be the lead blocker.
Misdirection, and that one batted away. Good coverage by Nnamdi Asamoah, as the pass was intended for Torrey Holt.
Well, and here's what you get out of Nnamdi, and this is why they drafted him in the first round, because he's a guy that's highly skilled physically, and here he is out here in the matchup. But watch him with his long arms. He's every bit of 6'2", be able to undercut that, get his inside arm to go ahead and bat that thing down. He's got a tremendous wingspan, which benefits his ability. If his body's not all the way in the front of the guy, and he hasn't still leverage, JC, he can still use his hands.
And on the 14th play of the drive, the Raiders will spend a timeout. So the Raiders take the timeout after a long sustained drive here by the Rams as they try to punch in and get us going on the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon. You know, this is the kind of defensive effort that the Raiders have seen all year long. As we discuss what's gone wrong in Oakland, it hasn't been their defensive unit.
Well, they've done a good job in those corners. We saw Nnamdi make a great play on the ball there. And, you know, if you can have two good corners, which the Raiders have right now, it allows you to do so much more with your interior guys. You can get those guys up the field. You can bring those linebackers and let those corners play man-to-man out there.
3rd and goal now. Bulger has to throw it away. Intended for Sean McDonald, and again, all the options were covered by that great Raider pass defense.
It looked like Sean McDonald or Bulger thought McDonald was going to break out on the pivot route. Instead, he came back inside. Pretty good protection here for Bulger. Again, the Raiders will not send the blitz. Matter of fact, only rushed 3. He thought that McDonald was going out there, and Sean just stopped right in the end zone. Watch, he'll just stop there. Stanford Root was playing that thing the whole way, and it was a miscommunication.
Jeff Wilkins still hasn't missed this year from under 44 yards as the Rams settle with the field goal to open the scoring in the second quarter here this afternoon. 3-0 St. Louis with 13:07 left in the half. That's a big win for the Raiders after such a prolonged drive to keep the Rams quiet with a field goal. Well, there's been such a lot of conversation, guys, this week in the NFL with the passing of Lamar Hunt in regards to the old AFL, the old NFL, and it's been such a trying year for Al Davis here in Oakland, not only in terms of wins and losses, but, boy, a lot of the old guard, they're leaving us.
Yeah, they are, and I don't think Al is leaving anybody anytime soon. You know, everybody talks about his health issues. He may have some things going on, but upstairs, mentally, you talk about a guy that's still at the top of his game and very, very sharp and in full control of this organization. And really, and Art Shell will tell you that he wants, Al Davis, first of all, deserves more wins than he's getting right now. He said he desperately wants to win for the head man, who's been a visionary, a guy that's thought outside of the box for so long in the National Football League. And really, perception and reality with Al Davis aren't even close.
And that's why Art Shell, I mean, he was so passionate when he talked about wanting to win for Al Davis and everything that Al Davis has done for him and this entire organization. I mean, they really, at one point in time, the mystique that the Raiders had was unmatched in sports.
Chris Carr takes the kick at the 15. He's had a great year taking kicks back for Oakland. One of the things that's gone right this year for the Raiders. And he's across the 30. That's where the Raider offense goes to work. The NFC West, something that, boy, the Rams hope to be more of a part of this picture. They are still mathematically alive, as we mentioned, guys. They do need a lot of help.
Yeah, they really do. But, you know, how about the Niners? Look at the Niners there.
Lots of help.
But all they can do, and when you're in that situation, all you can do is take care of your own business. And they've got to go out and they've got to win the remainder of their games. And they got themselves in the situation they're in right now. And all they can do now is try to get some wins.
Brooks looking to throw on 1st and 10. Pass is caught, and immediately upon making the catch, Ronald Curry is wrapped up after a gain of 8 yards. You go back to a win a couple of weeks ago that the Rams scored against the 49ers. And, you know, two different perspectives. From the 49ers perspective, that's the game that they might look back on if they don't go to the playoffs and say, doggone, that was one we should have had. And the Rams have had a lot of losses in that same vein as well. Games that got away late that they felt like they should have won to improve their playoff start. On the ground this time and close to a first down is ball carrier Richard Lee.
You know, talking about that though, Matt, they started out 4-1 and you know everybody got so excited, and since then they've gone, you know, they've lost 7 out of the next 8, and you know, like you said, a lot of those games have been close, but you know, they just can't get over that hump. And whether it's defensively, they can't stop the run, and really it's been more defense than offense, because they've given up a ton of big plays over the top, and offensively they just, with the line problems, they just haven't gotten in the rhythm.
Well, and I think, as you mentioned, their defense, they haven't been very good up front on the defensive line, with the exception of Leonard Little, and you know, their turnover numbers have gone down. That's what they lived on the first half of the season when things were going right. They haven't been knocking it loose as much.
1st and 10. Brooks stepping up in the pocket. This is Aaron Brooks at his most dangerous. Mike Vick's cousin doing like Mike, and is tackled at the first down marker across midfield by Dexter Coakley.
And that's the one thing that Aaron Brooks brings to this team. Obviously, he's a mobile guy, and when things break down, he can use his legs, and they need more of this. You can see the pressure comes, and he just finds a lane and gets up the field for positive yards and a first down. But when your offense is struggling, and you have a quarterback that can turn a negative play, or what would be a negative play, into a positive, it really helps.
And I think Aaron's always been a guy that hasn't used his legs enough, to be honest with you. I mean, he's done more fade backwards than he ever has in terms of attacking the line of scrimmage. He needs to do more of that.
So after the first down run by the quarterback, Justin Fargas breaks off a nice run, tackled at the 40 by O.J. Atagwe. A gain of 7 for Fargas. Well, the Raiders had such trouble running the football last week in the loss against Cincinnati. Already 36 on the ground for Fargas today.
Watch the hole right here that Atagwe's got to come up and fill, number 21. They catch Brandon Green on a slant down inside. That thing's 10 yards wide. I mean, that's not easy to get a guy at the line of scrimmage down for no gain when the hole is that big.
That's a good job by Atagwe. He's got a lot of room in that alley that he's got to go and cover.
Brad Badger reports in as a tight end for the Raiders, but this one is foiled as Corey Chavis got the penetration, and losing a yard on the ground are the Raiders.
And again, Corey Chavis being that 8th guy in the box, the offensive line, they don't account for that guy. And so now Corey Chavis, he sees the hole and he comes. Here's Corey Chavis. Watch him right now. They've got all these guys in the box, 8 guys. They don't account for Corey Chavis. He's unblocked. He reads the play and he just jumps up the field and makes the tackle.
How much fun was it talking to him yesterday? I mean, that guy right there is all ball all the time, like a coach on the football field.
Until he moves to Venezuela. Richard Lee, the lone back, with Brooks being chased and is dropped at the 45-yard line. Randall Smith penetrated and dropped Aaron Brooks. That'll bring on the punting unit for Oakland.
Well, and this is just attack and protection. I mean, they know what the Raiders are going to do and where Aaron wants to go. Randall Smith, they just send him. Watch him get over here, over the top, knowing that Aaron's got that little half sprint to the right. And to me, that's an outstanding job by Jim Haslett of attacking the protection and attacking what he knows the Raiders want to do on that play.
And did you see Kevin Booth, the right guard, just completely lost that whiff block?
Shane Leckler having a fine year in Oakland, gets away. Great punt as Dane Looker calls for the fair catch at the 11. Well, we talked NFC West a moment ago, guys. Let's talk about the AFC West. Quickly turned into a one-horse race with the San Diego Chargers. Perhaps a surprise to some, looking for home field advantage maybe throughout.
And you got a guy like LaDainian Tomlinson doing the things that he's doing. I mean, that guy right now has got to be the best player in football.
How about the guy delivering the mail? Not bad in Phillip Rivers either, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's something that just worked out well for everybody. You know, Drew Brees goes to New Orleans and leads that Saint resurgence, and the Chargers guessed right when they guessed Phillip Rivers was ready to go. Something more than a guess, one would imagine. Steven Jackson now with the hand, and after a gain of maybe a yard.
You know, the Denver Broncos, you know, Jay Cutler in there, Mike Shanahan, It's going to take a lot of heat if they don't make it to the playoffs. And look at that schedule. They got to play the Bengals, still the Niners, going to be playing for a spot, and you leave a guy.
You're in a playoff run, and you set Jake Plummer down.
And you go to a rookie, and right in the middle of a playoff run. And Shanahan's going to have a lot of questions, a lot of criticism if they don't get in.
2nd and 10, play action to Jackson. And the pass caught by Isaac Bruce in traffic. Pretty good coverage by Fabian Washington and company. Chris Carr was in on the coverage as well, but it's a first down for the Rams.
Yeah, good timing by Mark Bulger here and Isaac Bruce. The ball is in the air before Bruce even turns around. And so now Fabian Washington really has good coverage, good position, but the ball's already in the air, so he can't react to it.
Well, isn't that all about trying to disrupt timing in terms of what Bulger's doing to his receivers? And I know you don't want to whiff on a jam on Isaac Bruce, but, man, you got to do something to get some hits, to get some physicality on those guys to break up the timing. Bulger to his receivers.
Bruce just shy of a first down, so on 3rd and 1, Jackson makes it happen. He gets into the secondary and is tackled at the 26-yard line. There's your St. Louis first down as Tyler Brayton makes the stop for the Raiders.
Steven Jackson having a great year all around. And, you know, when we talked to Torrey Holt, says Steven Jackson has bailed us out of a lot of problems because the wide receivers have been inconsistent. They've had drops.
Even Torrey admitted that. Yep.
Exactly. Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, all of them. And he said Steven Jackson is our most valuable player. He's really bailed us out in a lot of situations.
There's the bailout halfback once again. And a gain of maybe 2 yards on first down as Turdell Sands makes the tackle for Oakland. We welcome those of you joining us from Chicago's overtime victory over the Bucks. And with the New Orleans loss, as you well know by now, Chicago has clinched home field advantage. Boy, Tampa Bay gave them all they could handle this afternoon, but a 34-31 win for Chicago at home. And they're loving it on Michigan Avenue today. Double tight end set on the field now for the Rams. Jackson with a yard up the middle. We mentioned Chicago clinching home field advantage and some other notable occurrences as a result of the early games. Indy plays tomorrow, but they win the AFC South as Tennessee beat Jacksonville. Baltimore beat Cleveland. The Ravens clinch a playoff spot. The Cowboys win last night, combined with the Vikings and Panthers losing today, puts Dallas in the playoffs. And though New Orleans lost today, they clinched the NFC South by virtue of Atlanta's loss and Carolina's loss, as the playoff picture starts to clarify itself in Week 15. Chased and down goes Bulger. Kevin Huntley came in from the right end. We do have a flag on the play.
I don't know if I've ever seen something like this before.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask, defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
We'll assume it's on Kevin Huntley.
They brought a lot of guys, Tim.
But watch what the guys do over here. Watch Stussy, watch Kloffenstein. They're going to let him go, and they're going to turn to try to come back on the blitz.
They blitzed Burgess and Huff.
They blitzed
both
them up
of
the
those
gut.
guys inside. They came from way back.
And there's the face mask on Huntley. No question about that. Just torquing the head and helmet of Mark Bulger.
Well, the kind of mistake that has shot the Raiders in the foot often this year, though rarely called on the defense side of the ball. Time ticking away at 5.5 and rolling here in the first half. So it makes it a 1st and 10 now from the 30. 2 tight ends on the field for the Rams. A hand to Steven Jackson. That play has yielded very little. Let's check in once again with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
All right, Matt, huge day for Rex Grossman, a career-high 339 yards passing. This to Rasheed Davis. Great effort. They did not review it from the booth, so that set up Robbie Gould. Missed from 37 earlier in overtime. True from 25. Bears clinch home field advantage throughout for the first time since '88. Back to Matt, JC, Tim, and the Glaze.
You know, if you have a championship season, you have games like that.
Yep.
Games that you've got to, you know, they're not pretty, but at the end of the day, a W's a W.
Jackson around the corner and into the secondary, running for another St. Louis first down. Thomas Howard finally ran him out of bounds.
You know, Steven Jackson today showing a lot more speed than he normally shows and some power. I mean, we talked to Linehan. He said he runs with the chip on his shoulder.
Yep.
You know, and he plays at a different level, a different speed, different tempo than the rest of the guys on their offense right now. You can see why he's been their most valuable player and why he's been so productive.
And I think they're better suited to run on the edges today because they can't get this guy blocked on the interior in the inside run game.
Bulger now throwing deep. And with good coverage, Isaac Bruce is there to make the grab. He had Fabian Washington draped all over him, but the future Hall of Famer was somehow able to pull that ball down.
Well, Isaac Bruce has done this to a lot of guys, and Fabian Washington is in perfect position, man-to-man with the safety in the middle. You want to be on his outside shoulder. Fabian's in perfect position, but Isaac Bruce just uses that body, goes up with two hands, gets the ball at its highest point. You can see he's going to go and get the ball and doesn't allow Fabian Washington to come over him.
You know what they say, great throw beats great coverage every time.
And that's just a guy making a play right there. That's what that is.
So back to the ground game. Steven Jackson is met in the backfield for a loss. Tommy Kelly made the initial hit for Oakland.
You know, Isaac Bruce, again, great position by Washington, but watch Isaac Bruce. He goes up to get the ball. He doesn't wait for that ball to come down to his chest. He extends those arms, goes to get it, and what that does, it does not allow the cornerback to come over his shoulder, Fabian Washington, and make the play.
Well, you don't wait on it, you go pluck it. That's exactly what Isaac did.
But a lot of young players today, they don't do that. That's a technique that wide receivers, all the old guys use, and they know to catch the ball with their hands.
Bulger steps up in the pocket, has an open man, open for just a moment as the pass intended for Torrey Holt was quickly closed by Nnamdi Asomugha.
I tell you what, Tim, I like this young guy, Nnamdi Asomugha, number 21. You can see playing the ball, doesn't get faked out on that fake corner, and then he closes. And that's really what makes a good cornerback, a guy that can close when the ball's in the air. You said earlier he's got those long
See him
arms,
use them
that
again
body.
right there?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. A guy can go and make a play on the football.
You don't like to compare, and Archell was reluctant to do it, but the skill set, the body reminds Archell a lot of Mike Haynes. As Bulger dumps it down to Stephen Davis, who is upended at the 16-yard line by Warren Sapp. Stanford rooted on the play as well. There's a great rich history here in Oakland in terms of the Rams on the move once again.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by Visa. Go on, live life, and remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
Strange going on. Over 1,000 people insist they've seen something in Loch Ness. And yet when science is applied, like this expedition here, what's going on? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Do you see that? There. Oh my.
Thank you, Mr. Scrooge. Would you like a bag?
No, thank you.
Bless you, Mr. Scrooge.
To Ebenezer!
When you use your Visa card this holiday season,
Ice cream for everyone.
you'll be automatically entered for a chance to win $100,000. A prize like that could loosen even the tightest wads. The Visa Holiday Sweepstakes. Life takes Visa.
My clothes didn't fit.
Ear infection? Double. Wasn't it double ear infection? She bumped her head.
I couldn't sleep. I typed in anxiety.
I typed in depression.
Diabetes. Sexual health.
WebMD has information that used to be scattered in millions of places.
All in one place.
Organized information.
Medically reviewed. So we trust it.
I don't need millions of answers.
Just one good one.
More than 30 million people come to WebMD every month. WebMD. Better information, better health.
FedEx presents the Air and Ground NFL Players of Week 14. New Orleans' Drew Brees completed 26 of 38 passes for 384 yards and 5 touchdowns, leading the Saints to a win in Dallas. The Chargers' LaDainian Tomlinson ran for 103 yards and 3 touchdowns, including his NFL record 29th of the season. Vote for the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week at FedExFootball.com.
Jeff Wilkins lining up for a 34-yard field goal attempt. And it's been Jeff Wilkins responsible for all 6 of your first half points. The Rams take a 6-0 lead. We'll be right back.
Hello, Mr. McDermott.
Call me Jim. You'll be my son-in-law in a few weeks.
Okay, Jim.
Actually, I hope you can think of me as a buddy.
Sounds good, Jim. Jimbo. Jimmy boy. The Jimster. Jim? I mean, Mr. McDermott? Sir?
Switch to the network with the fewest dropped calls. Singular, raising the bar. Now buy a Samsung phone and get 3 free.
Fell into the gap, they rockin' the hood. Seen peace in the streets when I stopped in the hood. We gon' keep it alive like hip-hop in the hood. It's good when love don't stop in the hood. It's a celebration, like Dave Shampipple. Hugs to the fam, kisses under the missile. So when I flow, feel the power that rap ass. People giving me love, I'm seeing the gap ass. Gifted like Christmas, so I love to rap. We gon' give it to the world, peace, love, and gap. Give it to the world, peace, love, and gap. We gon' give it to the world, peace, love, and gap.
You know, FedEx gave us solutions for all our domestic shipping needs. Maybe we should go international.
Well, FedEx has been in China for over 20 years.
Hey, Bill, put a pushpin in China. Bill, that's Russia. That's Greenland, Bill. You have no idea where China is, do you?
Whoa!
FedEx, shipping to over 200 cities in China.
Fox NFL Sunday is sponsored by FedEx for all your shipping needs. By Citizen Watches, Citizen Echo Drive, unstoppable. By Singular, raising the bar. And by Wendy's, do Wendy's new double melt and do what tastes right.
Well, St. Louis has been able to move the ball successfully this afternoon. Scoring has been yet another story. And despite a couple of long drives of 15 and 12 plays, just 2 field goals to show for it. Chris Carr takes the kick across the 20, across the 30, across the 40, and finally tackled at the 46-yard line by the kicker. Great field position for Oakland when we come back.
Beneath the placid exterior lies a cauldron of activity inside the Wendy's new jalapeno cheddar double melt. Shown here, we see its many layers, each serving an important function. Fresh ground beef patties insulate the center, keeping it warm. A slice of pepper jack melts beneath bacon, and deep at the burger's core, jalapenos explode in a river of molten cheese. Man can only stand in awe of this miraculous way to do what tastes right.
Intelligence of downhill assist control. The RAV4 from Toyota.
You've seen how they play.
I don't even know how many rooms we have here.
Now see how they live.
This is the way you get around the Ramtown's crib.
Visit attblueroom.com/sports for exclusive access into your favorite players' worlds.
Unstoppable. Sasha Cohen is. So is her Citizen Echo Drive. Fueled by light, it never needs a battery. It's unstoppable. Just like the people who wear it. Citizen Echo Drive watches. Unstoppable.
This holiday season, American Idol's Simon Cowell wishes you joy.
Forget it. Rubbish. Very shrieky. It's a no. It's atrocious. Was that serious? Awful. Tuneless. And also pointless.
Ho, ho, ho. That's the spirit. American Idol returns Tuesday, January 16th on Fox.
Well, for an Oakland Raider team that hasn't scored north of 22 points all year, they can hardly do without guys like Lamont Jordan.
Well, and there's Randy Moss, too. A couple of guys that they counted on big time this year that haven't been able to do it. There's Jerry Porter, who's been an problematic issue all year long in the locker room for Art Shell and his football team. So, playing with a lot of backups out there today, boys.
Aaron Brooks is able to dump down the pass to Richard Lee.
And a lot of firepower. Also, you factor in Robert Gallery, the left tackle's been injured. He's been out.
Barry Sims.
Yeah, Barry Sims. You know, a lot of guys offensively aren't there that have been very productive players. Obviously, they've got to make some decisions there because Randy Moss is not happy. Jerry Porter's not happy, and they've got to do something there.
Raiders try a hurry up on 2nd and 9 now. Brooks's pass looked like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. O.J. Atogwe penetrated for the Rams. If for more on that topic, injured marquee players, let's check in with Jay Glazer.
Well, guys, you know, Randy Moss a couple of weeks ago, he went to the team trainers and said, hey, I got a little clicking in the knee. They said it should be all right. And now Randy actually thinks he has a torn meniscus in that. I don't see him playing for the rest of the year. Jerry Porter, he's obviously unhappy also. He thinks that either they're going to trade him or cut him. Something is going to have to happen in the offseason. But it's going to be interesting to see Al Davis, even when guys are disgruntled, doesn't mean he's going to get rid of you. A guy like Randy Moss, a $14 million number for next year, he can still sit on him. It'll be interesting to see if Moss has played his last snap as a Raider.
And you remember Marcus Allen in that whole situation where he just sat Marcus basically for 6 years. And, you know, sometimes Al can be vindictive, and these guys have made a lot of noise publicly. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see him just make them sit for a while.
3rd and 9, Brooks is hit as he throws, and the pass is incomplete, to say the least. Aaron Brooks got smoked by O.J. Atogwe and Leonard Little.
And they're just bringing gut pressure. That's the best way, talking to Rick Venturi, Jimmy Haslett, bring everything up the gut and then let your guys come from the edge and clean it up. And that's what they do. And they come up the gut, they get pressure there, and then they got a tight end matched up on Leonard Little out there. Forget it. Mattson has no chance to try to defuse what Leonard Little does on the edge.
And that's a great design, because when you blitz those guys inside, that means the running backs have to step up and take him. They can't go outside and chip on a guy like Leonard Little, so that keeps Leonard single blocked out there. You're going to win with Leonard Little being single blocked out there today.
Well, the Rams, meanwhile, will get the ball back with over a minute left in a half as Sean McDonald is deep. Got a flag on the punt as that one bounces into the end zone.
He's done that all year. You know, Leckler's one of the better punters in the league, but that guy, you talk about kicking it into the end zone and touchbacks. I can't stand that. They should make that guy, you should make Leckler do some burpees on the sideline or something. That's like 24 touchbacks this year.
Well, a long field made longer as the Rams are guilty of an illegal use of the hands penalty on the punt, so they'll begin the drive at the 10-yard line with over a minute left to play before halftime. Warren Sapp and the Raider defense taking the field to try and keep this a 6-0 disadvantage at intermission.
Be interesting to see how far Stuart Schweigert plays deep here on this defense. Seriously, and talking to Bulger, and especially in this situation, he's been so deep. He's out of the screen. He's way back here somewhere.
Yeah, most of the time he's lined up and you can't even see him.
Part of the nickel package playing in Contra Costa County as Steven Jackson running between the tackles is tackled by Warren Sapp. Well, the Rams really have not had any field position to speak of in the first half. They've started drives at the 18, the 9, the 12, and the 10-yard line here. As you can tell, the Raiders have won that battle, but are unable to do much with it in terms of scoring.
Well, and I think in talking to Bulger before the game is what he wanted most to do, and it hasn't happened here, really hasn't happened all year, is to get out to a fast start and get those Raiders playing in catch-up mode. And clearly that hasn't been the case. It hasn't gone according to plan for Bulger today.
Steven Jackson, the ball carrier, to very little success as he's tackled around the line of scrimmage and a timeout on the field.
And a bad snap by Romberg. See that bad snap. Bulger dropped that ball, almost a fumble, but Steven Jackson was heads up and was able to pick that ball up.
There she goes.
A reminder to stay with us at halftime for the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will break down all the early games, scores and highlights of the Fox Sports ticker. They'll clarify what we know of the now boiled down playoff pictures.
I'll tell you this, in the AFC, there's two teams that nobody wants to play right now, that being the Tennessee Titans, who took down the Jaguars today, and the Buffalo Bills, who shut out the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, how about Vince Young? Everybody talking about the Rookie of the Year, and his name hasn't come up, but I think it should.
Bulger hands to Steven Jackson. Tackled by Kirk Morrison for Oakland. A gain of 7, so the Rams will come up a little short. And the Raiders take a timeout with 17 seconds left in the half.
And why not with a return guy like Chris Carr? Why wouldn't you?
And the problems that the Rams have had covering kicks. You know, last week they gave up 2 kickoff returns to the Chicago Bears, and they've struggled covering kicks, punts, and kickoffs all year. Well, that's one of the reasons they're glad to get Isaiah Kazavinsky back today. He's their special teams ace. They've got to get some guys just run down and don't worry about where the blockers are. Just get down in your lanes and cover the kick.
Well, you start thinking about the Raiders and maybe being able to move the ball 20 or 30 yards to get into Sebastian Janikowski field goal territory. That's been easier said than done, as that punt is almost swatted away. Carr lets it bounce, and it's going to check up brilliantly for the Rams, down at the 7-yard line. Well, any thoughts of Janikowski field goal range after a 71-yard punt kind of go away? We'll be right back.
Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 41.
Well, a 2-win season thus far doesn't have the Black Hall as animated as it usually is here in Oakland. Though folks are out here in this December matchup to have a little fun and hope the Raiders can get some offense generated at some point.
And Art Shell brings up some good points about the fans too, and Art coming back. What did he tell us the other day in camp and all throughout the years? He walks by fans, and a lot of them say, Coach, listen, just stick it out, man. It's going to change. Stay your course, lay your foundation.
We're behind you.
And that makes Coach feel terrific, he told us.
Well, not a lot of offense in the first half for the Raiders this afternoon. Just 59 yards against a suddenly stingy Ram D. Halftime with the score St. Louis 6, Oakland 0. Stay tuned for the Visa Halftime Report coming up after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Rams will go on offense first to start the second half. Willie Ponder, the deep man for St. Louis. And the ex-Seahawk is around the corner, around the 25, and moved out of bounds at the 30-yard line by Michael Huff. Look at your first half stats. The Raiders' ineffectiveness offensively really translates into both the running and passing game. Just 10 yards in the air in the first half.
And this is what I was talking about with the field position at their own 28 versus where the Rams have started. That's not even close. 58 total yards of offense. I think you know why coming into this game the Raiders were the last ranked offense in the National Football League, 32 out of 32 teams.
For the latest in fantasy stats, log on to foxsports.com. The Rams open the second half with a 2 tight end set. Steven Jackson, why not? To the 35, tackled by Tyler Brayton.
You know, the first half, Steven Jackson was able to get going, really just running the ball downhill. And that's where they started. And then he was able to break it outside and use some speed, break some tackles. But, you know, that's what he's been able to do all year. That's why he's so productive, because the guy now is really starting to be an all-around type of a running back, a big downhill guy, but can get to the outside or catch the ball.
After a gain of 6, and the pass is caught for a first down by the tight end, Aaron Walker, who carries the tackler with him.
The thing I like so much about Steven Jackson, and you mentioned it, the ability to break tackles, because he is much stronger than anybody realizes at 230-plus pounds. But I tell you, I'm so impressed at the way he can turn a corner. You know, so many running backs in this league, defense's idea is to get guys going sideways and then get all the speed to run them down. You get Steven Jackson running sideways, and he's got the ability to take it and turn the corner and beat you to the perimeter.
Jackson, the ball carrier once again, this time met head-on by Warren Sapp and company. Sam Williams there to make the tackle. Kirk Morrison in on the stop as well. Well, Steven Jackson is en route possibly to a new career carries high this afternoon. That was his 20th carry of the game already this far. 26 is his all-time high mark.
And the thing that we haven't seen from them yet is him catching the ball.
He came in with 82 catches, leading the Rams in grabs coming into this game. So, yeah, you're right. We haven't seen a lot of that.
Yeah, leading all running backs in the league.
That last carry mark is no gain. The Raiders load up front. And a flag, a free play for the Rams as Bulger hangs it into single coverage and thrown past Isaac Bruce. Looked like Kevin Huntley got a little froggy on the line.
Yeah, they had a few guys that were in the neutral zone when the ball was snapped. That's a good job by Romberg. Actually, the center taking the ball and snapping it while the defenders were in the neutral zone.
Fred Romberg, as we mentioned, making his first start as a Rams center. So it makes it 2nd and 5 now. As we mentioned in the first half, guys, the Rams were able to march the ball effectively, but only 2 field goals resulted from a couple of drives of 15 and 12 plays respectively. Remembering on Monday, it was the 3rd quarter that really let things get out of hand for the Rams against Chicago. Out yardaged by over 100 yards in the 3rd. And the quick pass is caught by the tight end Joe Kloffenstein, tackled shy of a first down. Sam Williams on the stop for Oakland, a gain of 3.
You know, Matt, one thing about this Rams offense is, like you said, they've moved the ball quite a bit, but they've got to make more big plays. And coming into today, they had 49 big pass plays, explosion plays of 20 or more yards, but only 1 for a touchdown. So they've been able to make some plays in the past, but they haven't been able to get into the end zone making that big play. But today they haven't even made the big play, and that's what this offense is really based on with those wide receivers.
3rd and a yard. Bulger has a wide open target, and it's dropped. Boy, Kevin Curtis was right there as he got behind coverage, but wasn't able to hang on as Michael Huff made the defensive recovery for Oakland.
That's a terrific job by Huff, just ripping it out of there, because it looks like Bulger was a little late on the throw. Kevin Curtis is waiting for it. And just as he gets it in, Michael Huff comes in with that left hand, is able to separate, grab the arm, and pull it away from the football.
But that's a great job by a young guy of not panicking when you're beat, and you play the receiver's eyes in his hands. When his hands go up, you know the ball is coming. That's when you go for the strip.
So Matt Turk on to punt as Chris Carr waits for an immediate fair catch. And he muffs it. The Rams recover. Chris Massey jumped on it for St. Louis. That's a pretty good series for Chris Massey. Snap and then jump on the muff fair catch.
It's a highly productive play for the long snapper.
Yeah, and the problem there is Chris Carr, you got to use your feet. When you're catching the ball, you got to get under the ball. Watch him right here. He stopped his feet and he tried to reach out and catch the ball with his hands. That's not how you catch a punt. He's got to keep moving forward. Get his body all the way under the ball and cradle it to his body.
You know, I wonder if Matt Turk and his ability to punt had anything to do with that. I think he just dropped out of the sky now.
Well, the equivalent of a big play for the Rams offensively as they get the ball at the 24-yard line. Steven Jackson inside the red zone now as he's tackled at the 19 by Kevin Huntley.
And a lot of those older punters that have been in the league for a while, fellas, they got English on that thing now. They can get it up in the air and just to drop straight down, and Carr just couldn't come up with it.
Well, that's one of the few things that's gone right for the Raiders all year is their punt and kick return game, but it fails them here and gives the Rams a big opportunity to add on in the 3rd quarter. Again, St. Louis is inside the 20. 2nd and 5, a double tight end set for the Rams on the field.
Look for him to attack down the middle of the field. Raiders had big problems with that last week.
Play action. Down the middle of the field indeed. Pass caught by Torrey Holt, getting out of bounds at the 6. Fabian Washington again had the coverage for Oakland.
This is where a veteran like Torrey Holt, he reads the defense, he understands that this is a zone, and he just sits down. Watch him find a hole. He knows that it's zone cover. He just turns around right there. He doesn't continue to run and then run into coverage. He turns around, finds that open spot, and gives Bulger a target and it's an easy throw and catch.
Those guys versus the zone, that's something Bulger and Torrey Holt can do in their sleep, fellas. You got to challenge these wide receivers.
First and goal for St. Louis. Jackson dancing inside the 5. Tackled by Tommy Kelly and company. Antaj Hawthorne made the initial hit for Oakland. Well, let me ask you that, JC. We talked about this during the week. The fact that the Raiders play pretty good man coverage. They line up okay on that side of the ball, even considering the Hall of Fame targets for the Rams. We talked about how they probably won't show much zone today. What happened on that last play?
Well, you've got to mix it up because with the quarterback like Mark Bulger, you can't just give him the same look every time because you give him a pre-snap read. He knows right now where he's going with the ball, so you got to mix it up.
Steven Jackson, touchdown, St. Louis. Jackson's 9th touchdown of the year, his 8th rushing the football. And it's the Rams that get into the end zone after the special teams problem by Oakland.
Boy, what a clever little play as Bulger's going to fake a pass here, and then watch Todd Stussy with the seal down block on the right defensive end, Tommy Kelly, or the D tackle. And that was it right there, and Sam Williams just ran right by Steven Jackson.
Yeah, just caught him off guard. They just weren't ready.
Jeff Wilkins nails his 336th consecutive PAT, and the Rams go on top 13-0 in Oakland.
A lot of confusion on this play. Look at all the Raiders over here, and then watch Kirk Morrison go for the fake. He won't make that play over there anyway, and now Steven Jackson just runs that draw inside. That's where Kirk Morrison was supposed to be, and you can see on the sideline a lot of discussion between he and Warren Sapp saying, hey, you got to do your job. Let everybody else, the other guys do theirs, you do yours.
Well, that's what happens to teams that are losing a lot of games. Defensively, guys that are all in charge of a gap of responsibility, they don't trust the guy next to him. You start doing too much, you give up a crease, you get beat. Well, as defensively, when you're versing and playing a high-octane offense, what you want to do is keep them on the sidelines. Get off field on 3rd down. Let your offense go out there and move the chains and win time of possession. That is brutal. You just can't beat the St. Louis Rams that way.
Yeah, yards.
Look at the number of plays almost doubling up the plays.
Well, and it bodes particularly not healthy for Art Shell, given his Raiders have scored a league-low 42 points in the second half. And after being shut out in the first half and having their backs to the wall here, they'll start this possession with Justin Fargas on the ground, hit by Corey Chavis after a gain of 3.
Yeah, and you're right, Matt. They've only scored 42 total points in the second half all year. That is by far the worst in the league. Tampa Bay was second at 84, second worst at 84, so that tells you how bad the Raiders have been offensively in the second half.
And it's not like they haven't tried to shake it up. I mean, switching offensive coordinators from Tom Walsh to John Shoup and trying to get the ball out of their hands quicker in terms of the quarterback, it hasn't improved them numbers-wise.
Aaron Brooks throws behind Randall Williams.
That's a perfect example right there of what now John Shoup, as the offensive coordinator, is trying to give these guys an opportunity. Listen, 3-step drop. We took 62 sacks during the course of the year. Aaron, just unload it. Get it out. But if you do that, and there's John Shoup there, the offensive coordinator, you got to be accurate.
Yeah.
And all those underneath throws, and Aaron's always had that big arm. When you got on a guy in a little 7-yard out route right there, you got to hit him to where he doesn't break stride. That was on the back shoulder.
Yeah, that shows his inconsistency right there, not being able to throw that. He just puts too much heat. He's got to work on his touch.
Raiders are 1 for 4 on 3rd down this afternoon. Here comes Leonard Little. Brooks gets it away. A juggling act mid-catch. Johnny Morant hangs on. Shy of a first down, however, and that'll bring out the Raider punting unit. You know, it's worth pointing out, guys, that the Raiders have not finished last in yards per game ever as an NFL franchise.
Well, they're having a hard time blocking Leonard Little. They barely got a hand on him there. Good thing, again, Aaron had a quick slant to where he can unload this thing quick. Leonard Little, they'll move him everywhere today to try to get him freed up to get some good pressure and some good hits on the quarterback. Leonard Little tells you he missed 6 sacks in the last month. Should have 16 or 17 right now this season.
Sean McDonald on to begin the return at the 26. He's across the 30 and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Rams on offense up by 13. Rams on top 13-0, 8:42 left in the third. A quick glance at your St. Louis offensive leaders, and note Steven Jackson already creeping up on 100 yards and creeping up on a career carries high. He is 4 shy of that number. We got a flag before the play.
Scott Linehan told us he
false start offense. Number 80 was in the process of getting set when the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Boy, the false start bug has even bit Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce.
Talking to Scott Linehan, guys, yesterday, and just talking about Steven Jackson. As much of a weapon as he's been in the pass game, he wants to get him those more touches in the run game. Said he would love, in a perfect world, if he could get him 25 to 30 every game. Ideally, that would be what he would like to do. So this guy's our bell cow. We need to lean on him. They've done that here today.
Marches the Rams back to a 1st and 15 now. Play action with Jackson. Bulger throwing incomplete. And once again, you had a defensive back, Nnamdi Asomugha, once again all over Torrey Holt. But between Asomugha and Washington, they've been playing piggyback on top of Holt and Bruce all afternoon long.
Yeah, and that's good coverage.
That's real good
That's
coverage.
what happens when you get bump and run coverage. You can see they're playing man to man. That's what it's designed to do, is to be as close to that guy as you can get. That's just incidental contact right there.
You know, a great example. Did you see him jump that route knowing it was going to be an in route? Nnamdi knew it the whole way. Ronnie Lott helped him tremendously, you guys, with route concepts and understanding what offenses are trying to do to him. And you could see it right there. He knew that was an in route.
2nd and 15, and that one intended for Joe Kloffenstein, incomplete.
You know what I mean, JC? I mean, you played DB. Nnamdi right there made the break when the receiver made the break.
Well, you have to study film, and he's a young guy. He's a smart guy, went to Cal Berkeley. As we've got a flag here. But Nnamdi, he studies film. And like you said, Ronnie Lott and all the guys, Willie Brown, who's his coach here, guys who have lined up and have done it at a high level for a lot of years. And he's learning from those guys.
Said he used to go out to Ronnie Lott's office here in the Bay Area and would go down. Ronnie would come out in his coat and tie, you guys, and go through some drills with him. All right, here's what you're looking for, down and distance. Here's what they're going to want to do to you. Here's the routes they're going to want to run at you. And he said it's allowed him to play so much faster. He came into this year, you guys, with no picks. He's got 7 this year.
But you know what, too?
He's not thinking.
It's a confidence issue. All up in the Why didn't you tell me? Because when he lines up, he points to the referee, or points to the guy at the sideline and says, hey, am I okay? And they're supposed to tell him yes or no.
So now 3rd and 15 for the Rams. Raiders bring the blitz. It gets picked up. Bulger gets it away and just out of reach of Isaac Bruce. Let's check in Los Angeles with Chris Rose.
All right, Matt, 2 quarterbacks are guys.
We'd like to bring you on side.
Come on, Chris. Yeah, come on, man. Bring it on.
Well, you know, that's been the subject of so much discussion here. The quarterbacks that the Raiders passed on, and it opens up as we've got a flag on the punt to a discussion as to how they may draft this year. Again, with a flag on the punt, Chris Carr calls for the fair catch.
Well, you know they're going to get a high pick.
I don't think they could make a mistake for the 2nd year in a row and passing up a
kicking team. Number 58 was not on the line of scrimmage. Oakland has chosen the option of replaying 4th down with a 5-yard penalty.
I don't know if the Raiders fellows can take another year, another offseason, and passing up a franchise quarterback. If indeed Brady Quinn or someone else they've identified as a franchise quarterback is there when they make their selection.
Right, but they've got so many holes to fill on this team. Do you trade that pick down and you get numbers? Because, you know, obviously you want that franchise quarterback, but you got so many other positions that you need help with.
For more on that subject, let's check in with Jay Glazer.
Well, guys, this week the National Scouting Combine, which is one of the services that half the NFL uses, they came out with their annual draft ratings. And who is the top of it? Yes, it's Brady Quinn from Notre Dame. Also, Adrian Peterson. He's been looking and interviewing with agents also. Could be another option as well. But Brady Quinn right now, #1 on the board.
And another flag on the play. Turk has to pick up an errant snap, and he's tackled at the 36-yard line. Jared Cooper had the penetration there. Something going very wrong for the Rams on special teams.
I don't think it was the snap. I think Turk thinks this thing's going to get blocked, so he doesn't try to attempt it.
But then he panics because once he picked that ball up, he could have kicked it. Instead, he tried to run it.
Illegal formation, offense, number 56 was not on the line of scrimmage. The penalty has been declined. The result of the play, first down.
Wow, that's big.
Matt Turk knew this was going to be blocked. Bottom line is watch him get it, and as he's going to kick it, he knows he pulls his leg back. Here's Gerard Cooper, the guy who runs the edge. Watch Brandon Chiller, who's going to just try to take him low and just whiffs on him. He has no chance.
And then Turk here, he can still kick this ball. Don't panic. Right now, you've got plenty of time. Kick the ball. You'll probably get a penalty for too many guys down the field leaving early, but at least you line back up, and now you can kick the ball out of there. Now you give the Raiders the ball on the 36-yard line.
See if the Oakland offense can take advantage of their best field position of the afternoon. Brooks swings it out quickly to Ronald Curry, who somehow hung on to the football.
Looked like Leonard Little got a jump on that snap. Looked like he was offsides. They didn't make a call there.
That's what you call great get off.
Anticipation.
There it is. Leonard Little, fellas, is one of the better, to me, one of the most complete DNs in the league. Very underrated in run defense. You talk about explosion and burst and speed and all that stuff around the edge. He's got every bit of it.
Yeah, he's really improved his run defense. He could always get to the quarterback.
Zach Crockett in the backfield with Brooks, who hangs a jump ball out of play. Thrown way out of reach for Alvis Whitted. Not even the speed of Alvis Whitted can go 10 yards in. Raiders 1 of 5 on third down for the afternoon. Brooks has an open target, first down Oakland. Ronald Curry with the first down grab.
And one that they needed. You know, Leonard Little, we talked earlier in the game about everything he does and where they move him. There he's coming off the right side, not nearly as comfortable. Now watch him off his normal side, the left side, what he does to John Madsen. And that's not even close. He's going against Whitted on one side and can't get there. And then going back to his normal side, just blows right through the tight end. And talking to him, it's almost like if you're right-handed and you brush your teeth your whole life with your right hand, pick up a toothbrush tomorrow morning and try to brush your teeth with your left hand. Hard to do.
First and 10 with Crockett and Fargas in the backfield. Brooks has another open receiver, and once again it's Ronald Curry. Ty Hill had the coverage for the Rams, an 8-yard gain for Oakland.
And you know, the one thing about this Raiders offense is, where's the running game? They've totally abandoned the run game, and they're dropping back every down and throwing the ball.
Down by 13 with a bunch of time left against a defense that's the worst in the league in run defense or one up.
Exactly. You got to have more balance, and that's one of the problems that they get themselves into, especially once they get down. But they're still in this game. Don't forget about the run game.
Oakland trying to move into the red zone for the first time this afternoon. Second and short, and no luck on that carry up the middle as Leroy Glover penetrated to stop Justin Fargas.
And you have to like this matchup with a 6-time Pro Bowler going against a late draft pick and a rookie. Here's the ball right there. You can't draw it up any better.
Yeah, the problem is the consistency. He doesn't do that on every single play, nor up front do they play that well every play.
Crockett, the lone back, he gets the carry, and Aaron Brooks is playing official, saying first down Raiders. Jason Fisk made the stop for the Rams, but for more on Leroy Glover, let's go down to Jay Glazer.
Guys, you're talking about Leroy Glover, the former Oakland Raider. Before the game, Leroy was standing out here looking around the fans, and he said, you know what? I love playing against this team because these are the guys who got rid of me, and I like to show Al Davis and the people who are still here what they lost out on. I've had a pretty good career, and they could have had this as well. So just give me a little extra, stout out there. Back to you.
Yeah, Jay, and most of that career has happened for Leroy Glover since he left Oakland. And on the measurement, indeed, first down Raiders. 6-time Pro Bowler and Rams defensive captain.
There's a 5th-round pick out here. They unloaded him. Didn't think he could play. Went over to NFL Europe and to Dallas, to New Orleans, and the rest is history.
first down carry for Zach Crockett. And he fumbles the football. The Rams recover. Ty Hill jumped on it. So the first time the Raiders get inside the red zone all afternoon, they give it right back to the Rams.
Roten over here at right defensive end. This is what you call spilling it. Watch both offensive tackles that whiff on him. He'll come underneath, spill it. He takes out 3 guys right there.
Yeah, but Tim, that's terrible blocking. You could line up and make that play if Slaughter's not going to block you, and then obviously Langston Walker, he doesn't make a block either. I mean, that play was doomed from the start.
Boy, those tackles have struggled, haven't they?
Third time the Raiders have turned it over here this afternoon. So the Rams offense goes to work. Bulger in trouble, and he's hit. Derek Burgess with his 11th of the year. Last year's NFL sack leader with quick penetration on first down.
Yeah, and lined up here on a tight end. He's just going to release. Now it's Alex Barron. That's just all speed. He just turns the corner. Alex couldn't keep his feet and run with him. Not to mention the pressure up inside that marked Bulger back, so Bulger couldn't step up, which allowed Burgess to come around the corner and get a clean-up sack.
Yeah, I think Steven Jackson blew that. He was supposed to slide out and pick him up.
This is Jackson after the loss of 6. He gets a little closer to the original line of scrimmage before Kirk Moore. So on 3rd and 12, the Raiders put the dime package on the field with Stanford route. Clock ticking at 3:48 and counting here in the third quarter. Bulger with plenty of time and throws high of his intended target, Torrey Holt. Let's check in once again with Chris Rose in Los Angeles.
When you talk like that, you better back it up. You better make some plays.
Part of a crowded NFC East and NFC wildcard picture is Matt Turk's punt. Has plenty of hang and checks up at the 39-yard line. Points and fewer than 100 yards of offense this afternoon. You know, the Raiders were able to win a game earlier this year. They beat Pittsburgh with less than 100 yards of total offense, but nobody wants to make a habit of trying to win that way.
They scored on defense, too.
Right.
I mean,
Justin Fargas, the lone back with Aaron Brooks here on 1st and 10. Raiders start the drive from their 38. Pass caught by Ronald Curry for an Oakland first down. A reminder tonight on Fox, get ready to celebrate the holidays Simpsons style with an all-new episode you can't miss. The festivities begin tonight at 8/7 Central, right here only on Fox. Oh, appropriate. An appropriate basketball brawl.
Don't take your shots.
After last night, huh?
Fargas and Crockett in the backfield. Brooks looking down the middle of the field. Pass caught by Courtney Anderson.
What a throw. Wow. Oh. J.C. Leonard Little, who they try to chop block, gets up off the chop, gets right in Aaron Brooks' face. And then look at the velocity on this corner route.
And that's the thing about Aaron Brooks is he'll make a great throw like this from now, and then he'll just flash. But then the next throw he'll make obviously wouldn't be a good one. And that's the consistency Art Shell talked about with Aaron Brooks. They want him to be more consistent. Just make the throws that you're supposed to make and keep this offense moving.
Conclusion of the play, Tawney spiked the ball into the player. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Boy, so a big gainer is marred by Courtney Anderson with a taunting penalty called on him, and just nothing can go right. The Raiders just can't stand any type of prosperity this afternoon.
You're going to see at the end of the play here, Courtney Anderson's going to get up. He's not spiking the ball at a guy. That's a bad call.
That is a bad call.
They're frustrated. They haven't made any plays. They finally make a play. And the guy's excited about it.
They don't like is the one where you get up and you spike it right in the guy's face, or you spin it right in his face.
He never even looked.
He never even looked in that direction.
No, it was not that. So 1st and 10, a 26-yard gainer is wiped away, and Aaron Brooks takes a timeout. Raiders trying to get on the scoreboard for the first time this afternoon. A team that's been shut out twice already this year. That guy doesn't seem to care. A reminder, this January, the Tostitos Bowl Bash comes to Fox, beginning with the AT&T Cotton Bowl Classic, followed right here on Fox. Quick pass should have been intercepted. Intended for Alvis Whitted. Well, what do you guys think about the Bowl Bash coming up?
Obviously, you know, we've got some disparity here, but hey, all you need is your hand on your chin, man. Look like your your senior picture there.
2nd and 10 now after the near Fakir Brown pick. Play action. Brooks has a target. Pass is complete to Ronald Curry once again. Stopped shy of a first down. Well, you guys seem to disagree on only 2 of the games, the Fiesta and then the National.
Just kind of wide open offenses that Urban Meyer is going to run and show them. I think they're going to have some problems with it.
3rd and 2 and a whistle.
I think it's going to be a terrific football game. How about that venue? Have you guys been down to the new stadium there in Arizona yet this year? What a spot, man. Wow.
7 of 10 as he and Ronald Curry have connected a number of times successfully on this drive. On 3rd down, Brooks squirts free, but that hole is quickly plugged by who else? Leonard Little.
And this is the stuff that Jim Haslett talked about doing today. Knowing that Aaron Brooks, if you can get the gut pressure on him right up the middle, that's what it's all about. And you're just going to see Leonard Little slow playing it. Now knowing where Aaron likes to escape, which is right up the gut, and he just runs just point blank right into him.
Yeah, but the problem for the Raiders is they go with the two tight end set with Randall Williams and Courtney Anderson. If you're going to throw the ball, get your wideouts out there. Spread the field a little bit.
Oakland 6 of 16 trying to convert on 4th down. This is 4th and a long 6. And the pass is caught. Not caught. Incomplete, intended for Ronald Curry. Unable to hang on.
Well, why'd he stop?
It looked like he thought he was on the sidelines, like he stopped his toes and then tried to lay out, but he was 2 yards short of the sideline.
And that is not Aaron Brooks' fault. Watch Ronald Curry stop. The ball is where it's supposed to be. Keep running.
He loses track where he is on the football field, I think.
That's just a bad route by Ronald Curry. If he continues to run to the sideline, that ball is perfectly thrown. But again, those are the small and the kind of mistakes that this team has made all year long.
Raiders turn it over on downs on what looked like a rather confusing layout by Ronald Curry. So Mark Bulger now changing the play on 1st and 10 from the 35. Bulger has an open Madison Hedgecock, the rarely used target out of the backfield. He's across the 40 before being tackled by Kirk Morrison, a gain of 6.
Pretty good one for a while on old Marshall Falk, didn't they? Ran up a few numbers there with the St. Louis Rams.
Some of Falk's receiving records might fall this year if Jackson stays on pace. This is Steven Jackson on 2nd down, and he is tackled from behind, a gain of maybe a yard. Time ticking away on the 3rd quarter. 13-0 Rams. Fox NFL Sunday returns after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Remembered.
No doubt about that. Great man.
3rd and 3 as the 4th quarter is underway. And Bulger is sacked once again. For the 4th time this afternoon, this time it's Warren Sapp for the Raiders.
This is just a jailbreak up front. Watch what Burgess does to Alex Barron. Watch Burgess out here. Watch him take Barron and just push him straight back up under his pads, right into the lap of the quarterback. Nowhere for Bulger to go, which Warren Sapp loves that, coming right up the gut, grabbing sack number 8 on the year for Sapp Daddy.
And the 48th time this season that Mark Bulger has been sacked. The Matt Turk punt waved off by the receiving team. It takes another Rams bounce where it's down at the 16-yard line. It's a pretty good pass rush in Oakland. The problem has been offense. Aaron Brooks comes to a premature end as he puts on the jacket and the skull cap in favor of Andrew Walter, who will quarterback the Raiders the rest of the way.
I don't get it. Unless there's an injury to Aaron Brooks that we don't know about, and I know Glaze is checking on it. Why do you make this move?
Yeah, I don't know. And you can read Aaron's lips.
2 touchdowns, you win this game.
Yeah, looks like he said unbelievable.
And again, people moving at the line of scrimmage, a flag.
And I know Aaron Brooks has had it rough, but
offense, number 87, 5-yard penalty remains, first down.
Andrew Walter, guys, he's been disastrous this year.
Yeah, he's
when
been
you talk
sacked.
about taking sacks and everything else.
Yeah, he's been sacked 41 times. He's a guy that doesn't have the mobility, and when your offense is struggling, you really need that extra dimension that a guy like Aaron Brooks can give you with his legs.
Well, for more on the quarterback situation, let's go down to Jay Glazer.
Well, guys, obviously he's not been pulled because of an injury. He's been benched. Obviously, the offense not doing it today. And, you know, Aaron's now standing on the sidelines having players coming over to him saying, what's happening? What's the deal? And he's just shrugging his shoulders saying, I don't know. I think they're all scratching their heads today about the Raiders offense.
Yeah, did you see Warren Sapp there?
Well, you can't fool the veteran players. Sapp knows that Brooks gives him a better chance, JC.
Walter's pass is complete across the middle of the field. Randall Williams makes the catch. And let's check in with the Giants and Eagles and check in once again with Chris Rhodes.
And the Glaze.
A couple of teams in a dead heat, the NFC East. The playoff picture thickening certainly in terms of the Giants and Eagles. 3rd and 3 here for Andrew Walter and the Raiders. Pass caught out of the backfield by Richard Lee for an Oakland first down.
Boy, the Giant, you know, still right.
Well, Dallas certainly helping their own cause with the win yesterday. Trying to catch the Cowboys in the East. Trying to catch Andrew Walter is Leonard Little, and he does so rather easily.
Very difficult matchup all day long for Langston Walker over there on Leonard Little. Look at him get the hands down and work it not once but twice. You see how it failed the first time? Leonard went right back to the move to the slap and then to get the rip in there and lean, run the edge, and Andrew Walter doesn't step up. Leonard Little, sack number 2 on the day.
And for Leonard Little, his 73rd as a Ram. That passes Kevin Green for the career Rams lead. So Walker to pass, and the pass is caught shy of the 30-yard line by the tight end John Madsen.
I mean, there's so many times as a pass rusher where you have your move predetermined, but you got to have a counter move. And here you're going to see a slap, try to chop it down, get that hand down, and then throw the rip. Doesn't get it, so then he comes back with it. And a lot of guys, once they get that predetermined move in mind, some of the average pass rushers in this league that don't get to the quarterback a lot, once that first one fails, that's it. They're done.
And then a good job of trying to strip the ball, that chop at the end on the quarterback.
Another flag prior to the snap on 3rd and 9.
False start, offense, number 42. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Richard Lee. See too many false starts by fullbacks these days. I mean, it's just everything is completely gone wrong for the Raiders. Andrew Walter's in the game to start the 4th quarter. You got people moving on the line. You got guys missing fair catches.
Got fullbacks false starting.
Oh, man. 3rd and 14 now.
Now's the time you better watch Leonard Little. Better give Walker some help over there.
Another whistle.
False start, offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
Langston Walker, the guilty party.
No little task trying to block Leonard today, and that's what Langston Walker's dealing with all day long.
Just that little hitch right there to try to get out of his stance. And, you know, we talked about the Rams' offensive line being the most penalized team in the league. Well, guess who's number 2? The Oakland Raiders.
Backed up further still now, 3rd and 19. Walter with a little time, and it's intercepted. Thrown right at Ron Bartell.
What do you think? What do you guys think the veterans on the sideline are thinking right now? The Warren Sapps, these guys on this football team that saw quarterback change made when you're still 2 scores into this football game in terms of getting back into it. You take the veteran out, you put Andrew Walter in, who has really struggled this year, and look what happened.
Exactly, and Walter, get a guy like Sapp who's very vocal, didn't like it, but look at the throw.
They don't even blitz him.
It's not a good throw, throws it right to Bartell. Watch Bartell in coverage here. Where are you throwing the ball?
So another Raider turnover, which gives the Rams great field position once again. They're inside the red zone already. In the hand of Steven Jackson. There he goes on touchdown, St. Louis. Jackson's second rushing touchdown of the game. He ran right through the secondary. Nobody got a hand on him.
And it's only a matter of time when you continue to put your defense in adverse situations, and that's what they've been in this entire second half. They've been on the field too much. They've had to come in and make some plays, and sooner or later you're going to get gashed.
2 really good blocks by Setterstrom and Stussy to seal the edge.
Wilkins for the point after. 20-0 St. Louis. The Rams had never won in Oakland. They seem well on their way this afternoon.
Credit to Incognito, Setterstrom, and of course Brett Romberg at center. They played well today and have controlled the middle of that defense for the Raiders.
Yeah, they really have. But you know, being a defensive guy, that when you're put in those types of situations, you're gonna, at some point, you're gonna wear down, and that's what's happened to the Raiders all year long in the second half. Their offense has done nothing, and their defense has been put in bad situations.
Chris Carr inside the 5 and around the corner. Being chased by Ron Bartell, still not out of bounds, and finally tackled at the 35-yard line. That's where the Raiders will go to work once again. It's Rams on top of the Raiders, 20-0 here in Oakland. Andrew Walter came in the fourth quarter, replacing Aaron Brooks at quarterback, and he'll go to work here at the 35-yard line. Pass caught by Ronald Curry for an Oakland first down as we check in with Jay Glazer.
Guys, yesterday Art Shell, he tried to tell us that, hey, there is no problem here, offense, defense, no rift, things like that. Well, I can tell you what, just being down here, being around these guys, there is definitely some disgruntledness out here. The defensive players coming off very upset about it. You can just tell their body language, some of the things they say as well. But at the end there, Warren Sapp, he asked Rob Ryan, the defensive coordinator, come over, trying to gather the team back up again, saying, hey, we're still in this thing. Let's make some adjustments and still try and do something out there. Back to you.
Jay, thanks. Another Curry reception from Andrew Walter. He's bouncing off tackles and breaks it into a big gainer down at the 35-yard line. A gain of 19 for Oakland. First down, Raiders.
And you know, when you're losing, little things turn into big things, and winning cures a lot of ills, and that's why all week long they were saying, hey, we just need to win a ball game. A lot of this stuff will go away, but when you're in the midst of it and then you make a quarterback change, and the veteran guys think that obviously Andrew Walter is not the guy for him right now, it's tough.
Pass intended for Johnny Morant, incomplete. What's happening in New York? Let's check in LA with Chris Rose.
Who would have thought when Donovan McNabb went down that the Eagles were not going to be out of it? Jeff Garcia has been terrific, fellas.
Jeff Garcia's the guy eating the soup these days, huh?
Yeah.
It's been fantastic since taking over. Depth at quarterback, not something that every NFL team can enjoy. Courtney Anderson, the intended receiver, but he had Brandon Schiller on his back, and that draws a penalty marker.
I'll tell you one thing that the Raiders are doing right now that they did not do for Aaron Brooks, and they're doing it for Andrew Walter, is blitz pickup.
Pass interference, defense, number 54. Automatic first down.
Let's go back and talk about the Eagles. We mentioned their lead against the Giants with that one.
Good morning, Wig, and Marty doing some stuff there as the assistant head coach to help with play calling, I think has been really the thing.
Walter being chased, and he swings it out to the back. Rashard Lee, who fumbles the football. Now they'll whistle it dead at the 35, or rather the 25-yard line of the Rams. Fakir Brown and Dexter Coakley came in to make the play.
Because you know the one thing about Andrew Walters, guys, he's throwing the ball pretty well. Take away that interception that he threw to Bartell, and he's throwing the ball pretty well. And the one thing that he's doing, he's getting the ball out of his hands quickly.
Well, and he's had time to throw, too, because you're right with the 3-step drop stuff, but anytime he's had any 5-step drop stuff, they've been able to do the protection in terms of the blitz pickup, because the Rams have not stopped blitzing. The Raiders have just been able to find a way to get blockers in front of the blitzers.
Andrew Walter has engineered both of Oakland's wins this year. And on 2nd and 7 now, the quick drop and quick pass intended for Johnny Morant, being juggled around and intercepted by Dexter Coakley. 2 drives led by Andrew Walter, 2 interceptions thrown here in the 4th quarter.
You got to love Coakley and the boys. Nobody giving up on it. I mean, you talk about tips, JC, overthrows in pro football. That's where you get most of your interceptions. Walter trying to fire it down into the slant. Good defense, got the ball up in the air. Coakley didn't give up with it, came down with it.
Hand in and knocked the ball up in the air. Watch his right arm. Gets in there, gets that shoulder in there, knocks that ball up in the air. And Dexter Coakley's able to come down with the tip drill. It's a great job on that slant.
Steven Jackson, the ball carry once again. He's up over 100 yards for the 8th time in his career. Kirk Morrison makes the tackle on the play.
And you know, Matt, I'm not a big stat guy, but when a stat like this jumps out at you, the Rams are 40-1 since 1995 when they have a 100-yard rusher. You know, I think that's significant right there. And if I'm the Rams and I know that, I'm going to make sure that I pound the run every single week and get a 100-yard rusher.
Yeah, that one loss came earlier this year here in the Bay Area at San Francisco.
Well, that is crazy, going all the way back to 95.
A new career carries high for Steven Jackson, 27, along with 124 yards on the ground. Carry number 28 results in maybe a gain of 2. Time ticking away on the Raiders.
And that's all the Rams want right now, is to keep that clock moving. So they're going to continue to try to run the ball. When they do throw it, they'll probably throw some controlled, nice, easy throws for Bolger, make some completions, try to keep the chains moving, the clock ticking.
Well, and I know with Pro Bowl, guys, the voting and the results, I think voting's done. Results come out on Tuesday. I'll be really surprised if Steven Jackson has not fought himself in there as a representative in terms of the running backs for the NFC.
And you got to think Bolger's probably going to make it as well.
Absolutely.
3rd and 3 now for Bolger. Being chased, and the pass is incomplete. For another update between the Eagles and Giants, let's send it to Chris Rose.
All right, Matt, with Billy.
Stuff week 15. Quarterbacks getting nailed for taunting penalties today. There's Matt Turk in the punting unit, and Turk hangs on to it.
A lot of room.
Razzle-dazzle, first down Rams.
Wow, that was a great design.
Now, you know what? I think that was set up off that last block.
Oh, no question. And that was something that they saw from the Raiders return unit, because they just completely ran out of there.
Watch the fellas. Watch all the black jerseys just turn and head that way to try to get their wall set up. They're just going to turn and go. That's just too easy. They turn their backs to him, and Turk waits for them all to turn their back, and then he just bails.
That was way too easy.
That time Brandon Schiller moved Gerard Cooper out of the play, and Matt Turk, as you mentioned, JC, had a lot of real estate. A 16-yard gain on the would-be punt. Now Steven Jackson, the Rams will pound it into the ground from here on out with the game clock under 6 minutes and ticking.
That's demoralizing. This Raider team needs so much help, guys, when you talk about as this offseason approaches. And I think it's going to be all offense. I really do. And when you look at them, I think they got a good young defense. They've been on the field much too long today. I think Sapp's still got a lot of gas left in the tank. Another couple of years. They got a lot of good young D linemen around them. Good young linebackers. They envision Sam Williams and Terrence Howard and Kirk Morrison having good years. We like the young corners. They got Huff.
They got to completely overhaul that offense. All over.
Bulger's pass complete to Torrey Holt down at the 35. Let's check in with Jay Glazer.
You want to know how bad it is, guys? Warren Sapp, perhaps the quote of the year, at least when I've been standing on the sidelines. As the Rams pulled off that fake punt, Sapp walked right over to me and said, "Have you ever seen anything like this before? It's like we did something bad in a previous life." Right back on the field.
Yeah, and Jay, who'd have ever thought that Warren Sapp would be the voice of reason and the calming veteran presence on any football team, but there's been so much pandemonium in Oakland the past couple of years. Sapp has indeed inherited that senior statesman's role. 1st and 10 for the Rams. Steven Jackson, the ball carrier, again bouncing off a wall and tackled at the 35 by Derek Burgess.
Well, and I think with them falling to 2-12 today, they're certainly going to have a shot for that franchise quarterback. If Brady Quinn is there and he's their guy, they cannot pass him up. And then the receivers, that's a whole different entity when you start evaluating and maybe revamping those guys with Jerry Porter and Randy Moss. Listen, Randy is a great player on a good team. He's a bad player on a bad team. So he could certainly be on the road somewhere next year. And then the attitude adjustment with the offensive line. They've been unhealthy all year long, but as Art Shell told us, and he may be biased, said, look, I need leadership from someone in my front five with that group up front, whether it's Gallery or Grove or somebody. They got to figure out who's going to lead those guys at the point of attack.
Yeah, and I think that attitude adjustment has to be everywhere, not just the offensive line, but when you look at this team, you got to start all over. And it starts with the attitude. You got to have guys that want to, guys that are buying into your system, and you got to have that first.
3:39 left on the game clock. All Rams in Oakland.
Everybody.
Warren Sapp is the voice of reason here in Oakland, but it's been all visiting Rams on the road here today. Stephen Davis in the backfield with Mark Bulger on 3rd and 11.
I'll tell you, the story of this game has clearly been the running game. I mean, Steven Jackson has had himself a heck of a day, and defensively for the Raiders, they've done a decent job of limiting what those all-pro wide receivers are going to be able to do and have done throughout the game in Torrey Holden and Isaac Bruce. And then, I'll tell you defensively, look at this stuff. Forcing 5 turnovers on those Raiders, a shutout. I don't know when the last time this Rams D pitched a shutout, but Jimmy Haslett and his boys are getting healthy big time today.
Well, when you talk about what this one may mean for the Rams, we talked about it at the outset of the telecast, guys, that they were going to need a lot of help and they were going to need to win out in order to finish 8-8 and maybe have a chance at playing past the holidays this year. It's going to be a 51-yard attempt.
This is their second. This is a 30-second timeout.
As the Rams spend a timeout.
And the last time the Rams did shut somebody out on defense, 2003 versus the Atlanta Falcons, 36-0.
We remind you the OT presented by Lowe's follows our football coverage, scores and highlights, as the gang will cover all the playoff scenarios and what clarification we've learned with the early games today. That's the OT presented by Lowe's right after football today on Fox.
What a day for Leonard Little today. Just in Aaron Brooks' face all day long. When Andrew Walter got in the football game, he didn't let up. Turning the corner, facing chips, lining up all over the field.
And he knew it was coming. When we talked to him last night about it, look at Pooch punt here.
That would have been a career-long tire for Jeff Wilkins. Instead, it is a Pooch punt. It's down inside the 5.
But when we talked to Leonard Little and we asked him about these offensive tackles, he just started smiling, started laughing. He knew that he was going to have a big day today, and they were going to have a hard time blocking him, and obviously they did.
Yeah, I think a lot of credit to this Rams defense, because when you look at what happened to them against the Bears last Monday night, 42 points, all the big plays they gave up, especially in the second half. When you talk about fighting your way into the playoffs, if in fact you get in there at 8-8, which is a tall order, and needing help, this is the kind of performance I think they needed to try to push themselves through these next couple of weeks in some pretty big games.
Well, it's a big confidence builder for them. Big momentum, confidence, makes them feel good about themselves, especially coming off that Monday night loss to the Bears, like you said. And now they can go ahead and try to take care of business the next couple of weeks.
For the Raiders with about 2.5 minutes left, down 20-0. Doug Gabriel steps on the field for the first time today, reappearing as a Raider. Pass complete to Courtney Anderson. And let's once again check in with Chris Rhodes.
All right, guys, that pick thrown by Jeff Garcia led to this. Brandon Jacobs in to give the Giants the lead. They go for 2, but Tiki gets stuffed. Still the G-men up 1 with under 7 minutes to go. Time permitting, we'll get you out to the Meadowlands, Matt.
Yeah, Chris, thanks. That's turned into a good one, certainly. And as Chris mentioned, we'll try to shoot you out there as soon as the Raiders and Rams are complete here in Oakland. Can't come soon enough as far as Andrew Walter and the Silver and Black are concerned. 3rd and 1 for the Raiders. And the last time the Raiders were shut out 3 times in a season, 1981. They were defending Super Bowl champs that year, by the way. Good enough for a first down is Richard Lee, and a flag on the play.
Offside, defense, the nose tackle, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, let's take a look at the playoff picture. We mentioned some clarification has come earlier today with some of the early games, and that big one between the Giants and Eagles is going to tell us a lot. Let's talk about the teams on the bubble here, guys, including the Rams. There are a couple of those teams that are really on the bubble.
Absolutely. Don't be surprised, though, as you look, even if Philly loses today, that if it doesn't come down to the final week of the season, guys, for that final wild card spot, I really believe this, as the Atlanta Falcons will travel north to play the Philadelphia Eagles. I really believe the winner of that game is the 6th seed in terms of the final wild card spot representing in the NFC.
The 2-minute warning in Oakland. 20-0 St. Louis. Too much Leonard Little and too much Steven Jackson for the homestanding Raiders. It has been all Rams this afternoon. The black hole, something of a black void in terms of an aid to the home team. Andrew Walter looking to throw and has that one caught by Doug Gabriel, who re-raidered this week. Fakir Brown making the tackle for St. Louis. Doug Gabriel claimed on waivers after the Patriots decided he didn't fit the offensive scheme. Back in Oakland as Walter tries to hurry up with under 2 minutes to go.
Well, a double surprise. I was surprised when the Raiders unloaded Doug Gabriel at the start of the season.
Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
So then Doug Gabriel gets out to New England, lights it up for the first several games. I think like 24 grabs or something, then had an untimely turnover. And then his playing time and his production went straight downhill. They put him on waivers. Tennessee tried to claim him. But the Raiders, because their record was so bad, were able to get him first and get him back in the silver and black.
And they needed him with Jerry Porter being out, and obviously Randy Moss hurting that ankle or the knee. And so they needed some help in the receiving corps.
Will Witherspoon makes his first tackle of the afternoon after that Lee reception. And defensively, this game being seen as a big shot in the arm for a Ram defense who, as we mentioned, hasn't pitched a shutout in quite some time. And granted, they weren't exactly dealing with a high-powered offense today. Another reception by Richard Lee. But the Rams will, in fact, need a lot of help. And they've got to take care of their own business, too. Win out with their remaining 2 games on the schedule. Both tough assignments to try to get into the postseason this year.
You never know with that offense. And now that you know that running game can get it going with all the movement, guys up front in the offensive line. Offensively, when you look at Scotty Linehan's passing game and the firepower that they've got, we all know they need lots of help. But you get into the tournament, fellas, with offensive firepower like the Rams do possess, you never know.
Yeah, Steven Jackson, the way he's running the ball right now, pretty good.
Pass caught by Johnny Moran, just his 2nd career reception as Corey Chavis had the coverage for the Rams. Well, the Rams are well on their way to just their 2nd win in their last 9 games. Losers of 7 of 8 prior to week 15 here today. And that one caught by Courtney Anderson, a flag on the field as well. You know, Rams got off to such a great start at 4-1.
Illegal contact, defense number 24. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Another game break in Los Angeles with Chris Rhodes.
All right, guys, now the Eagles have come back. Jeff Garcia to Reggie Brown, who beats R.W. McQuarters. Two-point conversion is good, so the Eagles up 7. Time permitting will get you out to the Meadowlands. Less than 3 to go. Matt, back to you.
Can you throw it any better than that?
Great one in New York today. Man.
What a game.
We are under a minute here in Oakland this afternoon. A posterity drive here for the Raiders as Walter hangs the deep ball for Ronald Curry. Incomplete. Ron Bartell, who's had a good afternoon here for the Rams, had him covered nicely.
Yeah, great job of playing the hands of Ronald Curry. If that ball's thrown any further, it's a touchdown. But look at Bartell. Doesn't panic. He gets his head around at the last second and plays the hands of Ronald Curry and knocks that ball out.
Andrew Walter's got to lead him another yard or two, though, doesn't he? Right into the end zone.
It's a touchdown.
Yep.
So 2nd and 10 as time winds away on the Raiders here this afternoon. And we mentioned that the Rams had never won here. That pass caught by Courtney Anderson. We should mention that this is only their 3rd ever matchup with the Raiders in Oakland. So many of their previous 10 happened in LA when both of these teams were city mates in Los Angeles, as the Raiders spend a timeout with 25 seconds left on the game clock. Well, hope still in St. Louis. Remembering St. Louis fans and how hope had all but left their Cardinals during the regular baseball season. The Cardinals were en route to perhaps losing a big lead at the end of September. It looked like the Astros were going to catch them. Nobody gave the baseball Cardinals a chance in St. Louis. Maybe the same way no one has given the football Rams a chance in St. Louis. And you know, as you mentioned, Tim, earlier, stranger things have happened.
Yeah, they have.
Nate.
I think one thing, though, if you really want to project big picture and in the future for the St. Louis Rams, it will all be on the road in the playoffs through Chicago, cold weather, stopping the run. That will be their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
On defense.
Flag on the play. We encourage you to stick with us here after the Rams and Raiders are finished. We're going to get you out to the Meadowlands in that wild one with the Eagles and Giants.
Offside, defense number 56, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
And for a game break, let's check in again with Chris Rose.
Matt, this time it's the Eagles defense pressuring Eli Manning. Sheldon Brown tips it. Trent Cole, I'll take that, thank you. He is in, and the Eagles up 14, a little over 2 minutes to go. Time permitting, Matt, we'll get you out to the Meadowlands.
Oh, I love this league, man.
And it just keeps getting more interesting in the NFC East. Walter pump faking. He's got Doug Gabriel inside the 10-yard line.
Gabriel, he needs to get out of bounds there.
They're not getting this off.
Yeah.
This is going to be how
They're not going
today's
to get
ends.
this off.
He should have gotten out of bounds.
That last whistle launched the Seagulls here in Oakland, and that usually signals the end of the afternoon. As the Raiders are shut out at home, the Rams with a 20-0 win in Oakland. We'll be back right after this.